So when you're looking at labor costs in the construction industry, a lot of that also goes into how you're going to bid your projects, because you're going out to bid these projects against multiple companies. You don't want to bid yourself out, but you also don't want to underbid to where you're taking a loss on those projects. And a lot of understanding goes into the labor costing. You have to understand the cost of the labor that's going into these projects, so you're appropriately bidding and still making money on these projects. Understanding labor costing can also allow you to build in a buffer if you need to into that bid, so you know that, yeah, the labor usually costs this, but what could go wrong with this, and do I have room to build in a little bit of cushion? So if I think this person's going to need 100 hours on this project, what if he really needs 150? How can I bridge that gap a little bit? So really understanding the costs that could go into that project from a labor standpoint is essential to ensuring profitability on those projects.
Yeah, and it really depends. I mean, for a general contractor, tracking your labor costs is important for being able to project how many people you're going to need on a project for how long. When you're talking about subcontractors, and it's really the people performing the work, it's way more important to have an understanding of what does it cost, or what is, let's look at, like, for example, framing. How many feet can we do per day? How many people does it take to achieve that number? And then how many feet do we have to do total? And looking at that and really estimating it from the beginning and understanding your people and their costs and their capabilities, and then circling back and then reanalyzing that with every project and really getting to refining those numbers and making sure that, especially when you're talking about bidding. So if we're talking about an open bid project, that you're within the range that is maybe within 10% of everyone else, that you're not an outlier on either side, way on the high end or way on the low end. That's never a good sign for you. But that if you're somewhere in that tight range and you have a good relationship with that general contractor, that you have a good chance of winning that project. There's a lot of tracking and data that goes into that a lot of subcontractors struggle to put the right resources in the right place to be able to track how much time is it taking a person to perform work, how much time is it taking a crew to perform work. It's a lot of, this is how many hours they were on the project for a day, but not necessarily this is what they were doing for this many minutes and this many minutes and this many minutes, to get the information they need to really estimate more intelligently.